I have sent you one program. Can you please tell me what will be the output?
Okay, so first one will be 122. So it will be as a string double quote 122 because we're concatenating with a string to the number. Then 1 plus you are using unary operator, so it will convert to number, so it will be 32. Then second one will be again we're converting string to -1. So in this case it will be a string -1. It will be 3. 1 plus -1 -1 1 1 0. That will be false. 0 plus 2. 0 2 will be there, I think third one. And for fourth one we're converting again string to +1, and then we have number, sorry, string, so it will be 1 1 2. It will be the fourth one will be 1 1 2, and for fifth one we have a minus b minus for character string. So it should be so it is true. Double quote b means we have some value and we are trying to do minus operator, so it will be maybe converted to 0 or 1. That -1, I have not tried for that -1 like that.
Okay.
But maybe it will be convert some, it will try to convert at least like boolean kind of thing, I think, for minus and string, means for character, not the number.
So here now we are creating some buttons. Okay, 0 to 4. So when we click on button 4, then what will be the output?
Okay, let me share my screen first so I can open in JS. Can you see my screen? Hello?
Yes.
Okay. Okay. So we are iterating I less than 5 till 4. We are creating button and node. So button, we created DOM element with whatever I is coming. So button space 0 space 1. Okay. And we are clicking on event listener, adding click to that listener and we are trying to access I. Button. So you asked me when I click on the fourth button, so what it will print in the console, correct?
Yes.
Okay. Creating node and attaching, we are not maintaining I with the button. I'll just added the event listener on click, should return console log I. Okay. The node will be create button and I. Button space 0 1 2 3. So when I click on the last, it should return console log. So this will be is another function I have created. We have time to access that I inside that. I think it will return last button. And let's set timeout and it should return the last, I think, index 4. Not sure it will return 5 or 4 because we are incrementing as well before clicking it. I will check this later.
Okay. And when we click on button 3, then what will be the output?
That is I'm thinking actually. So after clicking this, all the listener, the for loop, it will be having the latest value of I inside. Because we are creating that listener. It should be, I think, 5 only for all of the one.
Okay. Okay. If I change where to let, okay, let's say let I equal to 0, okay, then what will be the output?
Okay, so what will happen in that case? It will create that each block will be having that value with the latest value over there. So where we have created as a single, so it will be having the, because of hoisting, it will be having the single scope of it, and we are iterating the same value. Because of that only we are getting iterating the I value. So we can say that the because of the function scope, the var will be having the single scope only, and with the let we can, so as soon as we create this as a loop inside that, so let will be having the block scope of it, so let will be having the each value over there.
Each value, okay. What is the difference between subject and observable?
Okay, subject and observable. Okay, so observable, we can say that the it emits the data actually. So suppose I create a interval observable, so it will emit something after whatever the seconds I have given over there. And about subject, we can say that it's a special kind of RxJS operator for us. So it behave as a subscriber as well and the observable as well. So we can subscribe with the we can subscribe the data with the help of the subject as well, and we can emit the data with the same subject.
What is async pipe?
Okay, so basically suppose I have some observable data which is coming from the service layer, and if I create an observable type of the variable inside the component, so instead of subscribing that observable data into the component, I can directly subscribe that data with the help of async pipe into the HTML file. So this is the, we can say that the use of async pipe. So it will have, we do not have to taken care of the subscription and unsubscription while using the async pipe.
Okay. What is the difference between for, of, and for in loop?
Okay, so whenever we are using the for of, so what will happen, suppose I have one string object, string, what will happen, so each will return the each character of it, so return as a we can say that the each character one by one, and we are, if we are using the of operator, so it will have, so all the data it will return. So as we use ng for let I of the whatever element, so it will return the each value of that. So it will not we can say that it will return everything whatever in the object we have. So yeah.
What are the generic types in Angular?
Generic types. Generic types. You mean to say in terms of the metadata, input, output, or component or modules?
No.
Generic types. No, I have not checked on it.
Okay. What is the purpose of form builder and form group?
Okay, so basically with the help of form builder, it will allow us to create a form, reactive form, and with the help of the with the help of the form builder and what you ask, form builder and
Form group.
Yeah, form group. Okay, so with the help of form builder, we create first form element, and with the help of form group, so we can group the whatever the form control, whatever we need to inside the form, so we can attach to the with the help of the form group. So suppose I want to create a login functionality, so what I can do, I can create first form group as a login form and form builder, and after that I will create a form group and I will assign the username or email or something and password over it, so it will be having that form control inside the form group.
How can we add the dynamic validation?
Dynamic validation?
Yes.
To the controls, correct?
Yes, to the controls.
Okay, so yeah, so with the help of the set validator and with the help of set validation, we can use that. Suppose I want to, before submission some form, I want to remove some validation or add to some validation, so with the help of that we can do to the each form control element. Set validator, we can say.
Okay. What is nested reactive forms?
Okay, so suppose I can say that suppose I have the user registration form, okay, and inside that I have some address related things as well. So what I can do, I can say that we can create an address as another form, and we can use that address form into the parent form. So what will happen, so whenever I will trying to submit that form, so the global object will have the user data, and in the address form we'll have the address related data which is coming from the address from group. So this is how we can use in the single form, we can say the nested form.
Okay. What is the purpose of form array in reactive forms?
Form array, I have used it. Form array, forget, I think form array I have used. I think we have to, suppose we want to pass some multiple validation, at that time we use something like that. I'm not remembering right now. Form array.
Okay. What is change detector reference class?
In the reactive form only?
No. In Angular.
Achha, in Angular. Change detector reference class.
Yes.
Reference class. I have not used exactly, so but for the change detection mechanism I do that ng on push instead of doing ng default, but this class I have not implemented.
Okay. What is the difference between ng on changes and ng do check?
Okay, so basically what we can say that the suppose we are trying to access some data which is coming from the backend API, so we ideally we use ng on changes, sorry, ng on init. So this is the second lifecycle hook. After that the ng do check. So inside the ng do check we can do comparison between, with the help of the simple changes we can do comparison between previous state and the current state. So depends upon that it get change detection get trigger, and because of that only the data bound properties get changed. Suppose if I on the on changes, suppose I have written the name equal to ABC, but after some time I am changing that. So what ng do check, it will check the previous value of that name and the current value with the simple changes it will do internally. So according to that, it will render the that element, or we can say that update the DOM, and with the help of the change detection, it will reflect the new value to over that. So with the ng do check, we do that data bound property change.
Okay. Or do you have experience with NGRX?
Not that much, but I know little bit about idea about it.
Okay. Can you please tell me 10 RxJS operator?
Okay, so basically we use a pipe first of all to utilize the any kind of the RxJS operator into the project. Suppose we have to use pipe to before transforming the data to the subscription. So first of all, one is pipe, then we have map operator, then we have take, then take until, and take file we have, then we have interval, then range, then from event, then we have switch map, then we have fork join, and then we have, I think, filter also we have in the RxJS as well. So these are some common debouncing, then throttling we have. So these are we have some common.
Okay. What is view encapsulation?
Okay, so basically what happens, suppose I have multiple components and I have created similar kind of CSS into the multiple components. What will happen, suppose I am rendering both the component into the single time to the DOM, so it will get clashes between the multiple CSS, while browser will not understand which CSS to be applied to the which component. So because of that, it will be having the clashes, or it will not decide what is the specific CSS for the element. So with the encapsulation, we can say that it will not impact the other CSS to the current component CSS to the other one. So this is the emulated, which can say the native one, which is the default. Suppose we have not added any encapsulation, it will be the default one. So with the help of that, what happens, so it will add the ng content and the random text with it, or with each element, and that text is also assigned to the class as well. So because of that mapping, it will not we can say the class with the other one. So this is the default one. Then we have none. Suppose I did not if I do the view encapsulation none, then what will happen in that case, the text I just said, that will not getting added. So whatever the global CSS we have written, that will directly apply to the component CSS. And third one is a shadow. We can say that it will create a separate DOM, so whatever CSS we have written inside it, it will not affect to the other one as well.
What is ng zone?
Okay, so basically what happens, so ng zone is internally used by Angular. So inside that, whenever some change detection happens, so ng zone is the helps us to the render the DOM actually. So we don't touch that file directly, but internally Angular helps to the depends, it checks the current value and next value in the with the help of ng zone, and wherever the data bound property get changes, that only that reflect to the with the help of the ng zone, and it will return the whatever the new value over there, and it will return to the DOM, and DOM will update that. So ng zone is used by Angular by internally.
Okay. What is shared module?
Shared module. Okay, suppose yeah, so suppose I have some common components I have created, and instead of putting the multiple component into the single folder, so I can create one shared module, and that module having some multiple components, that module directly I will use whenever there is a requirement to add such kind of functionality. So with the help of that, we can do the instead of putting the components into the shared we can say that shared module will be the shared folder will be over there. So we'll create that module, and inside that we'll add that components. So with the help of that, will be available to the each and every module.
Okay. What is the view child?
View child. Okay, so basically what happens, suppose I want to access a child inside the parent one. So with the help of view child, we can access that, and then we have some references. If I add a reference as a variable reference I want to take from the HTML element, at that time also I can use a view child. and for that we can use we can do the for multiple things. We can use like the reference variable as which I mentioned. Then we can use for the target for the ng module, so it will be having access of the whatever the first ng module will be in our code, that will reflect to the as a the parameter of the view child. And if I using the view children, so it will be having the collection of the all the data, so it will be, we can say the array list will be written over there, and we have to iterate that.
Okay. Why we use interface in Angular?
Okay, so what we can say, suppose I have some API that giving me a 10 what we can say 10 column of the data, but I want to show only the image and name. Okay, so this is my requirement for to show on the UI. So what we can do, I can write one interface, so it will strictly check that, so it will create that interface, and I can write a one map, so I can pass that whatever user requirement for the that API. So it will having access of the image and only the first name or username. So with the help of interface, we can say that the it will be restrict the whatever the data is coming from the backend. So whatever we required, only that type of interface we will create, and that pass to the front end.
Okay. What are the entry components?
Okay, so basically whenever I want to use some dynamic functionality into the Angular application, suppose like I want to use a module, ng model, so I have to create that module as a separate. Suppose I am using the ng dialog model which is in the Angular material, so I want to use that. So for that, what I have to do, I have to create that module first, and that I have to add into the entry component module. So what happens, so it will tell to the browser or the our compiler, so there is a something which is coming as a dynamic after some time. So because of that, it will be it allow us to use that. So like that we have to use for the toaster as well. Suppose we have to show the Angular material toaster, so we have to add that as well over there.
Okay. How many ways in Angular where we can pass data between components?
Okay, so suppose I have parent child relationship, so at that time we can use input output. So with the help of input we can pass parent to child, and with the help of output emitter we can use from child to parent. This is the one way when we have the relationship. And after, suppose I don't have any parent child relationship, and it's we can say the sibling components, but we don't want to touch the parent. In that case, I can create one service, and I can use observable over there, so sorry, subject observable over there. So it will help me to get the latest value as soon as it get emit or the subscription happen. So with the help of that we can do. And if we are having a services layer, so that are communicating with the multiple components, we can say, in that case we can use a store, whatever the ngrx store we can use.
Okay. What is resolver in Angular route?
Okay, so basically what happens, suppose when I try to access some component, suppose I want to access some route, so dashboard component I am trying to access, but I want to make sure that the data should be come before from the backend before loading the component. So what I can do, I can create a one resolver over there. So I will add as a resolve, and whatever the service I will create over there, so service will take the data from the backend first, then only your component get load. So we can pass that data as a parameter to the route with the help of the route. So we'll get data into the constructor object over there.
Okay. What are the different types of compilation in Angular?
Okay, so basically we have two types of compilation, JIT and AOT. Right now the IV compilation is happen I think with the 13 Angular 13. So in the difference between JIT and AOT is that the JIT do the manipulation compilation happens into the DOM actually, so it will take some time to load our website. And with the help of the AOT, so it will create a ready to use bundle for the browser. So as soon as it get to the browser, it will get render. So this is the both the way we have.
What is lazy loading?
Okay, so basically we can say that the lazy loading is nothing but the on-demand functionality. Suppose I have some in my module kind of functionality when I click on my module, my profile, that time only I need to show my basic information, account information and all. So what I can do, I will create one module over there for that, so it will not load as soon as the website get loaded, as eager loading happens. So when I click on that my profile route, then only it will load to the DOM. So it will help us to separation of the code to the from the it will divide our code into the multiple chunks, we can say, and it will load on demand.
Okay. What is Angular material?
Okay, so Angular material is we can say that we have the multiple components inside the Angular material which are already pre-filled for us, so we can use those into the Angular application. So I have used those as well while creating that npm library. So we can use multiple components they have created over there, so we can use those. As a
Okay.
bootstrap, we have multiple components, elements over there as a button, all these things. So that same similar we can use with the Angular material.
Okay. What are the HTTP interceptors?
Okay, so basically HTTP interceptor is nothing but it helps us to intercept request and response. So with the help of that we can intercept the request while going to the backend, and while coming to the data, suppose I want to add something when data came, so like that I can do in the interceptor. And suppose I want to make sure the my API's request should be authorized, so what I can do, I can use authorization header inside the interceptor, and I will pass that header to the backend with that request. Before going to the backend, I can intercept that request into the URL, and I will pass that authorization header with it. So backend team will check that the authorization header is correct or not, and it is the user is authenticated or not. So depend upon that they will respond as the result. So what will happen in this case, suppose I have some backend API slash user, if I try to directly access that inside the URL, it will not allow me to, because that authorization header is not available with that request. So this kind of things we did in my previous company.
Okay. What is the purpose of ng for track by?
Okay, so suppose I have 5 users of the data and I'm iterating 5 users. Okay, so if I'm not using the track by, so what will happen, when as soon as I push something into the sixth element, so it will reload all the ng for loop. So but if I'm using the track by, it will add only the last one. So it will help us to we can say that it is the one kind of the techniques for the optimization of our Angular application. So it will not load all the ng for again if I'm using.
What is ngCC?
NGCC, it helps us to the compilation with the IV, I think. So it will taken care with the whenever we are trying to build our application, it will help us to the taken care of the build. Build should be the proper with the IV compilation, I think.